What's going on, everyone? Brian Downard here, one of the partners at Prospecting on Demand, and I am super excited and grateful to be joined today by the lovely Stefanie Kim. Hi, Stefanie. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, Brian?
I'm great. Thank you so much for jumping on with me today. I kind of ran through a little bit what we're going to talk about today, but like I was sharing before we started recording, just really excited and appreciative, and just proud of the journey you've had in this program. I know when you initially started, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but you were kind of freelancing a little bit, looking to get out of that and build something more sustainable. I had been politely chasing you down over a number of months, and you had finally kind of made the decision to jump into POD, and that journey is come full circle now, and now we can kind of inspire the future PODers to see what's possible. So thanks for jumping in. Just to like make it easy to start, I'd love if you kind of break down a little bit more about who you are and kind of what you do.
Yeah, I guess high level. I just started in this online space, gosh, only about a year and a half ago, going on 2 years in November. Left almost 3 decades in corporate America, climbing that ladder that everyone wants to do. So 9 to 5, but obviously it was like more like 60 to 70 hours a week. Um, so yeah, that's when I started looking into like how do you actually make money online. In that time, I also had I sustained injury to my vocal cords, where I went from the front of the house marketing to now on the back end of things because I no longer would be able to speak as effectively as I used to prior to the injury. So yeah, that's why I kind of pivoted my corporate career from front of the house to the back end, where I didn't have to be
Yeah,
in front of people.
corporate America. When
Um,
you say that was Ducati, right? You work at the motorcycle Ducati shop.
oh gosh, I'm almost insulted. Indian motorcycle, which
I'm
is
so
actually part of
sorry.
my
I am
race.
totally ignorant to motorcycles. I wanted to hype you up because just as
Kind of.
for anyone who cares a little bit of context, because Stefanie won't brag about herself. Like, she is a certified badass. Just rocked out 3 hours yesterday on her motorcycle. When we were at our event in Salt Lake, after the event, she was hyping everyone up to try and go get tattoos. Like, I just, again, personal note, like, love Stephanie's just enthusiasm, energy, and certified badass. So just so anyone who cares or wants to know, she won't do that for herself, but I just wanted to share that. I apologize. I didn't know anything about motorcycles, still don't, but I appreciate you correcting my ignorance.
No, it's I've had a lot of corporate jobs, so not just like any motorcycle, but also a lot of really high end corporate Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was definitely burnout, especially being a single parent to 5 kids. I had to figure out a different way to make money without losing my mind and losing the time spent with my kids. So,
Yeah, for sure.
so
And you
yes.
were doing like about $30,000 a month with your freelance business, right? Like before we even jumped in here. So what was it about like wanting to go from like a freelance model to more agency SaaS style that why make that transition?
Yeah, well, I actually make $50,000 per month on average.
Wow.
But that's with more clients. So the more clients I got, the more money. But then I lost that whole intent of why I became a freelancer, which was time freedom
Right.
to spend more time with the kids. So that's where the agency model comes in regards to focusing on like AI agency, selling that as the service. But also I'm putting my name behind it with, a marketer with 3 decades of experience, to support in a automation manner, again, to free up time for business owners, so they can, rely on a system that's not going to break, but also free up their time as
Yeah.
well.
So I guess now with the new agency where you have fulfillment that's a bit more hands off, where are you now in terms of progress in that business?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I started the agency journey about a year ago, and I had outsourced
Right.
that whole finding me clients essentially. I had outsourced that to another agency because I had my fulfillment side that was my bread and butter, and I didn't want to lose that while I was building this
I
agency
remember.
up. Uh, what was that? I think I finally got on with VOE. That was like $36,000 that I had invested in this other agency that got me, excuse my friend, shit. They didn't give me anything. They got me leads that weren't my target market that I had conveyed to them of who I wanted.
Right.
And all I got was pushback every time I wanted to pivot. So that's where you kind of entered in the tail end of like, why am I with these people? And then I was also like, well, why would I trust again my investment in another company who can again burn me? So that was a little bit of a struggle, but
What do you
um,
think was different, like in terms of what they maybe weren't doing that you were able to do here that made that change?
I think for them, I was definitely a sucker for that. I wanted that quick win. That's why I outsourced because I wanted that quick win. And I could trust someone else to do it, get me started, and then I could transition my fulfillment part into my own agency. What was different between with you and Alex? I followed Alex for a while, probably for about that year, and all of his stuff was very value given. Whereas the company, I saw him on an Instagram ad, and it was that
Sure.
pitchy, and I fell for that pitch. Versus Alex
Mm,
was 100% value given, just giving us gold nuggets, doing the webinars, being part of Extendly as well. So that's how I got introduced to Alex, and then kind of again full circle getting into that network is how I got introduced to you on top of Alex, and then just hearing Beauty and Agency Alliance as a whole. I've heard more and more in regards to the reputation. That's where I'm like, okay, these guys really sound legit. I need something. I need help,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. And I guess just because I've seen some of the story you share online, I follow you on Instagram, Facebook, so I kind of see it play out there, which is awesome. But how has like maybe this transition from freelancer to more agency, like a business owner, how has that maybe impacted your day-to-day life or day-to-day business? Like, what does that look like for you?
Um, uh, it's I've definitely scaled back in regards to taking on more clients for my freelancing because my agency is taking off, and it's taken off because of me. For the reason why I outsource in the first place is because again, my speaking issues, which comes down to I'm uncomfortable. I have a lot of anxiety over it. Like right now, my anxiety is like completely out the roof, but I feel like other people really need to hear this in regards to like you guys have really you, Brian, especially on our initial talk, have transformed how I think of myself. Like I was my bottleneck. I was my own limitation because I'm like, with this injury, with this issue that I have, I use that as a crutch of not putting myself out there.
Mm,
And after me and you had talked, basically, I love like tough love. I love like just tell me how it is, kick me in the ass, like stop making excuses. And that's what you did for me, essentially, in a very
appreciate that.
nicer tone. But basically, you pretty much told me that I'm making an issue. It really is a non-issue. And if anyone who would stop not want to work with me because of whatever's happening here, then that's on them. And those are probably clients I don't even want to work with in the first place. And that's 100% right. Like it is what it is. Just because I sound like this doesn't mean my performance, my work isn't absolutely stellar. And as they say, like where you lack in one sense, you would
Yeah.
compensate or overcompensate with another sense. So I may not be audibly, um, understood, but on the back end, when it comes to like workflows and automations and like that's where it really shined. And what's funny is like 2 years ago, I had no experience at all. Like my
Yeah.
tech updating customer names in HubSpot or Salesforce. Like I have experience, but not to this extent. And since I've had pivoted my career into more of the tech side of things, like I learned, I love this. It's
Yeah.
so, I don't know, I love it. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And no, I'm glad and I appreciate that you took that advice to heart because I worked with so many people that have had accents or whatever, right? Maybe not necessarily the same situation, but they felt it was this limiting belief that was going to keep them from doing it. And I think one of the things I shared with you is if you just take that ammo from people, they can't use it against you. It's like, hey, if this is going to be a problem, then like all good. We don't have to be friends or work together. But for I would say 99% of people who are decent humans, they don't care if you have an accent, what you sound like, where you're from. They care like, can you get me to the place that I want to go? And you are obviously very talented and gifted and can get there and can get people, your clients there specifically. So I guess like outside of like once you stepped into this, new belief and identity, like any other like light bulb moments that came up for you in the business of like things that you stopped doing or started doing that made a big difference for you? I know stepping out of fulfillment was one of them. Anything else that allowed you to grow this business faster?
Yeah, it's man, how structurally how the courses are put together with BOD. It's just so fluid. And it just, it resonated with me for someone who has F's. Honestly, I felt like I had no business in this space, and I felt like that's kind of was part of the reason why I was struggling. I don't have a degree, I don't have a background in this. I just started a year ago. And then again, hiring experts to essentially do it for me, and they couldn't do it, where I almost quit. But the courses, the biggest thing, especially with Alex, is teachings and how you guys have formatted like objection handling and how you guys essentially have everything done for us that we can plug and play. So I don't have to consume too much time trying to put things together because
Yes.
you've have already put proven, high converting presentations and the scripts and everything together. But I no longer feel like I'm pitching or selling. It all comes down to conversation. Like I have learned to embrace and really enjoy the conversations because I get to learn about their business, my potential clients, what they're doing, how they're currently handling, and then being able to interject my experience as a seasoned marketer in the first place on what has worked for other companies and what I feel like could work for them. Based upon, proven facts. Like I love stats, I love numbers, I love facts. Um, and just having that conversation just flow. You're not selling, you're not pitching, which completely takes the stress out of it. You're just having a conversation. If it works, great. If it doesn't, cool. But I went from like 0 calls because for some reason none of the leads would ever show up on the calls to having 100% book rate or booking a call
Wow.
with me and then converting them. So within what was this, 3 months, 4 months, what is it, 12 clients now total, and approaching over $15,000. So in monthly.
That's amazing. And
So
money that you don't have to do all the work to earn either, right?
it's just setting up their accounts, and that's pretty much it. Setting up the workflow, setting up their logos, setting up, integrating all the things to trigger off the rest of the automation. So it's the setup, and then once I have set, really, unless they
Yeah,
want any updates, which is a retainer fee, so it's on top of the setup fee.
for sure.
Um, it's just residual income at that point.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, not here to take all the credit because I'm a firm believer in like your knowledge and skill stacking is what makes you as an individual uniquely equipped to get to where you want to go. And you had so much of a great background and experience in this space. So just a couple of small tweaks or putting the puzzle pieces in a different order. And again, I love what you were saying around like sales as a service, right? So many of us get this like built up in our head of this anxiety to have to go pitch or sell someone. And when you can be really detached from the outcome, be indifferent, and just be there to see how you can serve that person, it opens up a lot more opportunities because even if that person's not a great fit, they potentially can refer you or have some other door open that you might not even know is there if you just give yourself the opportunity to be open to that. So, and obviously, huge shout out to Alex, who really leads from his heart and sells from his heart, where You can serve people without necessarily having to be a financial transaction and still win long term and still make money in the process like you have. So I sincerely appreciate your time, Stefanie. I always like to ask one more question before we kind of wrap these up. If someone's watching this video and they are considering joining POD and they're on that fence, like, I don't know, I don't have a lot of time, or I don't know if I have a like spot in this space, or I'm afraid of sales calls, like, what would you say to that person who's considering joining and on the fence?
100% right. And I say that from someone who has had that experience of putting money towards people who did not perform and investing in things that I thought would work out because they had a great sales pitch and nothing happened. So I lost a lot of money when that out. And BOD, 100%, they, from the get-go, they invest in you, period. Like I said, like on your I don't want to say transaction, but our relationship. But we had almost a year long back and forth of, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not ready for, I'm already with this agency trying to help me out. Let me see how that rides, which again, almost a year, nothing happened. And you were just, hey, if it happens, it happens, but let me help you while you go through this. So you took time to actually look at my website and look at the ads that they were pushing out and help me tweak some things. So the fact that you guys are 100% invested in people's journeys and their growth and just finding value in and 100% the best decision I made in my agency that I wish I did this a year and a half ago because that would have saved me almost $100,000. So
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad you did. I'm sincerely grateful for our relationship, and again, proud of the journey that you've been on, and grateful to be a part of that journey. For anyone who maybe wants to learn a little bit more about your business or what you do, what would be a good place for them to go check out?
You can go to my website, which is asamarketingsolutions.com. It stands for Advanced Strategic Automations and Marketing Solutions, or follow me on Facebook, which is just simply Stefanie Kim,
Cool.
Stefanie with an F. And then you could actually see my journey, how I came from a domestic violence survivor to agency owner.
And killing it, and only at the tip of the iceberg. So thank you so much, Stefanie. For everyone else here on the channel, you know the drill. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps out the algorithm, find new people, and appreciate your time, Stefanie. We'll see you guys in the next one. Where's my mouse?